Welcome to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, where we explore all kinds of things, stories about quilting, tools, field trips, maybe some famous quilters stop by, and, of course, a little bit of copyright thrown in just for fun. I'm Elizabeth Townsend Guard. I'm a law professor at Tulane University, and I just wanna quilt. Annabelle Hammer. She is way involved with Project Linus. She talks to us about being an organizer for it in her region, strategies, why she does it, and what it is. So sit back. She is awesome. I hope you enjoy this one.
I'm Annabelle Hammer from Western Virginia, which is about 20 miles outside of Washington, D.C.
Oh, that's very cool. And today we're going to talk about Project Linus, which is a big deal thing, and we haven't talked. We've talked. It comes up in the interviews a bunch, but we haven't actually talked about what it is. So tell us. Oh wait, let me do the first part. What's your first memory of someone sewing or quilting in your life? Sorry, I skipped.
Well, my mother was a home economics teacher and a seamstress. So I think my first memory was when I was about 2 or 3 years old, and she was using her old treadle machine.
Ah, nice.
Early 60s.
Very interesting. And growing up with a mom that taught home ec, did she teach you how to do all of that?
Yeah, she taught me how to knit, crochet, and embroider. But she didn't know how to quilt herself. So I learned that actually after I came to the Washington, D.C. area and took some classes at a local fabric store.
Interesting. And what is it about quilting that you like?
Well, I like the creativity and and it helped to slow me down too when I was in a hurry.
Yeah, no, I get it. All right, so tell me about that. Do you feel like so I feel like I'm always in a hurry too. Like there's just always a lot going on. Quilting, do you feel like you're rushing when you're quilting, or do you feel like your pace changes when you start to quilt?
No, I think I try to slow myself down, and take things deliberately and not rush, because when I do rush, I make mistakes, and then I have to go back, take a seam ripper and go back to square one. So I've learned to take a more measured approach.
Interesting. And is there any kind of style you like in particular, or just do everything you can think of?
I like more the improv style.
Yeah.
I wasn't ever good about matching points and seams and things like that.
Right. It's just nice to, I get it. Well, that's really interesting. All right, tell me about Project Linus. First, in case people don't know what it is, let's start there.
Oh, it's a nonprofit organization which started in 1995 and has about 300 chapters nationwide. And we collect, make blankets, Afghans, quilts for children in hospitals.
Yeah.
And homeless shelters, social service programs like foster and adoption programs.
That's so amazing. And are they kids all the way to 18? Like, is there a cutoff on what age the children are that get these blankets?
Yeah, usually 17 or 18.
17 or 18.
Yeah, in that case, we need really big blankets.
Yeah, it's funny. We have a group here that does a local church group that tries to give blankets to every kid in the foster system in New Orleans.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and that's what they were talking about, the need for large blankets, because they're the kids that are about to age out of the system. They really want to make sure they have blankets, and they're grown-ups, like they're grown-up size. So they were talking about the need for that.
Yeah, because ladies, they usually like to make the smaller blankets. So it's not that common to get the bigger sizes. So we have to urge
people to do that.
To make the bigger sizes. Yeah.
And how fancy are the blankets that come? because that was the other thing that this group was saying, is that like they didn't have to be super intricate, because the idea was something that a kid would love, but it didn't need to be, they were kind of strategizing on how to get to their quota without overtaxing their members,
Oh, I got some pretty intricate stuff, and just some with large blocks. And usually the quilting, they tell us not to make the quilting too fancy.
Uh-huh.
We're not out to win prizes, but just to get the quilts finished and out to the kids.
Yeah. And is there, so tell me about the process tell me what your involvement is with Project Linus.
Okay, so I cover 4 chapters, and there are what we call blanketeers in these 4 counties. So people usually work on their own, and then they contact me saying, "Oh, I finished this quilt or Afghan," and I have collection bins at the local Joann stores and an independent quilt store. So I'll tell them, "Oh, this is the closest store to your location, so please drop it off there."
Really interesting.
Then maybe once a week, once every 10 days, I'll drive around to the different stores and pick up the blankets.
Interesting.
Right. And then another way I get blankets is at the schools or churches. They'll have like service days, community service days. And usually they'll make, because they're kids and they don't know how to sew or crochet, they'll make the no-sew fleece blankets.
Yeah, tell us.
20 or 30 of those.
Wow, that's amazing. So how many blankets do you think your chapter, and you cover your area, which is 4 chapters, how many do you think?
4 counties.
4 counties, sorry.
Yeah.
How many blankets do you think you're picking up? What's the scope of this?
So I have to submit quarterly reports to Project Linus headquarters. So it comes out to 700 or 800 blankets that come in each quarter and that we distribute.
That's amazing.
Various facilities.
That's amazing.
It's a large area and it's very busy. That's good.
Yeah, and so if people are listening and they want to get involved, how do they get involved with either making the blankets or being part of the infrastructure?
Well, they have to go to the projectlinus.org website, and then they'll find a listing of their local chapters. So they'll have to work with a chapter in their area.
And why do Project Linus? So how did the blankets get distributed?
Oh, usually what I do is I'll call like a hospital or a Ronald McDonald House or the county, for the foster adoption programs, and I'll ask them, "Do you need blankets and how many?" And usually they say yes, and I bring them up to 25 or 50 blankets for a delivery. Sometimes, like with the hospitals, they don't have that much storage space, so they can't take that much.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. So, what are the numbers with Project Linus? I imagine that they've got incredible, like the metrics on how many blankets they've.
Oh, I think it's almost 8 million now since it started in 1995.
Wow, that's amazing.
Distributed, yeah.
Amazing. That's amazing. Now, why be part of Project Linus? There's so many. What I want to talk to you about is sort of charity quilting, both in terms of how much money and time is going into this, and the difference between like these big organizations versus smaller ones. What made you decide to be part of Project Linus?
I guess it was because it was more on the local level instead of sending stuff to like a big organization.
Yeah.
Out of state, and I don't know what's going to happen to my quilt after I send it off. So I like that it was at the local level, and I knew the places that would receive the blankets.
Yeah. And so my theory is that the amount of charity quilting that's happening in this country is huge. Do you find that to be the case too? I mean, the amount of like people buying their fabric and spending that time and then donating these quilts are. And you have any thoughts about why that's happening or sort of that side of it?
Oh, well, yeah, I noticed that there are just so many organizations all over the country. So, yeah, it is hard to pick.
It is hard to pick.
Yeah.
And go ahead, sorry.
Oh, but then, you know, when I talk to these ladies who make the quilts or Afghans, I mean, it really gives them a good feeling about themselves that they're contributing, you know, and helping kids that are less fortunate.
Yeah. We just had an interview recently where I think it was Beth Strand was talking, and she does a ton of charity quilting, and then she adopted a kid, and she said the kid came with a Project Linus blanket. That's
nice.
Like, on both sides of it, it was kind of amazing, like all the charity quilting she did, and then with this kid who had been sick, and then she adopted that it came with a Linus blanket. So. And how important that was, you know.
Well, I've talked to various moms who children received Project Linus blankets, and so one lady, she wants to make Afghans herself, you know, and then another one, she wants her school to do a project. Then there's a third one who's a nurse at a hospital, and she said, "Oh, my son received this, and I think all the kids at my hospital." You know, they would love to these kinds of blankets too.
Very interesting.
So I get different reactions and types of gratitude.
Interesting. How much do you think your quilting is the charity quilting at this point? How much of your quilting time, the quilting part of it and then your extra time, do you feel like is devoted to this?
Oh, I think 100%.
100%.
Actually, I used to like make quilts for a friend, like for baby quilts, and a friend would pay me like $100 for a baby quilt or something.
Uh-huh.
I can't do that anymore. I told her, sorry, I'm just dedicated to Project Linus now. I referred her to another quilter who, she's a professional quilter and long armor, so she'll take orders. So I refer her to that other quilter.
That's really interesting. And why do you feel like you can't? You just feel like that your quilting and your time it means more, and you want. It's not about the It's not about the money. It's about giving back. Is that kind of why do you feel that way?
Oh yeah. I feel I would rather devote my time to charity quilting, and also, when you're making a quilt for pay, you do have you feel under pressure to make it perfect.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm quilting for Project Linus and it's not that perfect, well, the other chapter coordinators say that, oh, the kid doesn't care that your points don't match or you don't have
right.
Quilting. They're just glad to get a blanket. So I think there's no pressure there.
I interviewed Stitch TV, and their slogan is "Babies don't care."
Oh, right.
I totally like that. Babies don't care. They don't care. And what is your strategy in picking out fabric for Project Linus in terms of, are you thinking about the age of the kid, or like what's your strategy in doing this? Where's the
I'm really fortunate because I get a lot of fabric donations.
Oh, that's great.
So, in the beginning, I did have to buy, and I usually bought novelty fabrics that had kid prints. But then as my chapter grew and people knew more about me, all these ladies who are leaving the area, downsizing or going into nursing homes, they've donated their fabric to me. And now I don't have to buy it. At this point, I don't buy any.
That's amazing. How do you keep track? Like, how do you keep organized?
I really don't. So I just kind of stuff them wherever in the guest rooms, and And then my daughter came home over the Labor Day weekend. She opened all the drawers and closets in her old room, and all this fabric and batting popped out.
That's really funny. Now, what about batting? Do you buy the batting, or is that donated to you? I imagine that could get expensive in terms of batting.
Oh, yeah, I used to buy it on sale on these are connecting threads, but now I have plenty of donated batting.
Donating batting too.
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
So I'll use whatever whatever you donate to me.
Yeah.
Polyester or wool. Mm-hmm.
That's really great. Well, this is so cool. So how long does it take you usually to make? Do you care how long it takes? You don't care. You're just doing what you want to do. Is that?
Oh, you mean the quilt?
Yeah, how long it takes to make a quilt, from start to finish. Do you do the quilting as well?
Oh yeah, I have like a sit down mid arm.
Yeah, that's great.
And, I don't know, because I would say about maybe a week.
Interesting.
Working on and off.
Yeah, that's not bad. And do you do the same pattern over and over again, or do you do different patterns?
I like to try different patterns.
Interesting. And a lot of the improv patterns.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm. Right.
Very.
I'll get orphan blocks,
Uh-huh.
and I'll make quilts out of those orphan blocks.
Oh, interesting. That's really cool. I like
that.
Yeah.
They, along with the fabric, ladies will donate like quilt tops and the orphan blocks. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's so very interesting. So if there are people out there that want to start doing this, what are your suggestions on how to start, like how to make your first charity quilt? Like maybe people are nervous about it, or they don't know what to do, or what would be your suggestion of how they get into doing this?
Oh, I would first advise making just a simple pattern with big blocks.
Yeah.
Like, I recently got some quilts that are made with big 9-inch blocks, very colorful blocks, and they were just fine.
Interesting. You know what I'm really into right now is like finding really beautiful fabric and just like doing a yard of it or 2 yards or whatever, and making that, like not even cutting it, like just fabric, because the fabric's so beautiful. I have a hard time cutting it. So now and also I'm practicing with free motion quilting. But But that seems to make that's really fast because there's no piecing. It's just quilting.
And also using panels, that goes really quick. If I get panels, I like making those into quilts.
And do you have any sense of what the kids are liking? Do you get feedback on like what kind of quilts they like, or does it matter? Do you worry about it being? You don't care. You just do any fabric. Like it doesn't matter. Like.
Oh well, we got feedback that they like bright and colorful fabrics. They don't like the black or gray, tan, navy.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's a feedback we got from the nurses.
Interesting.
The more colorful and bright, the better.
And does it matter? You don't care if it's gender. It's okay if it's pink, or you don't care about gender neutral stuff because they'll just give it to, whatever kid wants. Do kids get to pick out their? It depends on the place, right? Does the kid get to pick out?
Sometimes, some places the kids will pick, and then, but the other times the nurse will give it to them.
Got it.
Yeah, it depends on different places.
Interesting. On the website,
we get a lot of blankets made for girls. So we kind of try to have to urge the blanketeers to make more for boys.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's a natural kind of inclination.
Yeah, I think for women, that is a natural inclination.
Very interesting. So they used Linus, the Charlie Brown character, and why? And obviously Linus had a blanket, so that's why. Do you know why? Do you know anything about their use of that trademark or that name? Did they get permission, or do we have any idea about that part of it? I imagine I have to ask.
Oh, yeah. I don't know myself. You'd have to ask the founder, Karen Wilkes.
Yeah.
She's in Colorado. And she was the one that was involved with getting
I imagine.
the Linus image.
Interesting. I'm looking on the website to see if there's anything about that. Interesting. And do people give you donations, like money donations as well sometimes, or do you only take blankets?
Oh no. Sometimes like there's a corporation that'll give me money.
Yeah.
Like Kohl's will they give me money when their employees come to one of my make a blanket days. If they have at least 5 employees, they'll give me $500. So that's pretty nice.
That's pretty nice. Tell me again how that works. So they have is Make a Blanket Day the national day for Project Linus, or do they do it?
Oh yeah, well, it's usually the last Saturday in February. But I also have these Make a Blanket Days at my church, like every couple of months. And so my local Kohl's store, they're nice enough, to have their employees come and work. They have to work 5 hours and at least 5 employees for me to get the money. But then I get $500.
That's amazing. And
so that's very nice.
That's really great. That's amazing.
And then sometimes when I go to other corporations, they'll reimburse me for the materials, for the fleece. So I went to Deloitte for their Bring a Child to Work Day. And so the kids in the afternoon, they worked on these fleece blankets. And so that company was nice enough to reimburse me.
Oh, that's very nice.
Materials, yeah. So a lot of companies will donate or reimburse me.
That's amazing.
And then once in a while, somebody will be nice enough to write me a check.
That's very nice. And then what do you do with the money? Does that stay in your local chapter, or does it?
Oh no, all of our accounts are held at the Project Linus headquarters.
At the headquarters. Yeah. And then that just goes into the general fund when they donate to your...
Oh, no, each chapter has their own account.
Oh, that's cool. And then what do you do with the funds when they're donated?
So, actually, when the corporations donate, it goes to the Project Linus headquarters, but it's designated for a certain chapter.
Got it. Interesting. And what do you do with the money when you get donate? What's the money go towards? If people are out there and want to donate.
I usually use it to buy fleece from I Make a Blanket Days.
Now, do you buy it just like at Joann's or someplace like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I buy it at Joann's when they're having sales.
Yeah.
But usually I buy about $250 or $300 worth of fleece.
Wow, that's a lot.
So, yeah, because I try to make about 100 blankets at each of these events. Yeah, to make it worthwhile. Yeah.
Right.
And I get like 20. Yeah, and I get like 20 to 30 people show up.
That's amazing. And they can make about 100 blankets. How long does that take for 20 to 30 people to make 100 blankets? I would say probably about 5 hours to 5 hours. That's amazing. That's remarkable.
Yeah. Well, the young people, because I get a lot of like high schoolers. Really fast. Young people are really fast. Yeah. With their nimble fingers. Yeah.
And how often do you have these kinds of events, do you think?
Usually every couple of months.
Interesting. So this is really cool. So any downsides to be part of Project Linus?
I guess the only thing is I have to, worry about having enough money to buy the materials.
To buy the materials, right. And that's part of raising money for the chapter.
Right.
have. And each chapter sort of takes care of its own finances, or does do you have to get money?
No, each chapter is responsible for its own fundraising.
Interesting. And
right now, they're running, Project Linus headquarters is running a mystery quilt-along.
Yeah, tell us about that. I can see that. What is that?
So it started earlier this month. So for $15, a quilter can register, and that $15 will go to the local chapter.
Oh, very cool.
So every week, every Saturday, the clues are released. And at the end, I think at the end of a couple of months, the participants will finish a child-sized quilt.
Oh, how interesting.
But it's good because the local chapters will get the money when somebody from their area signs up for quilt along. Yeah.
That's good.
And then at the beginning of next year, January, February, there's going to be I think it's a knit or crochet along. For those who knit and crochet, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. How many of the blankets do you get a sense of yours are quilted versus knitted or crocheted?
Well, I would say the most we get actually are those fleece blankets.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because they're easy to make for people who don't know how to sew or knit. Yeah. Yeah. So I would say like 60% of the fleece, and then 40 of the quilts and afghans.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, this is so insanely awesome. Anything else? Any other thoughts that we want to add to our conversation? But if people want to get involved, they go to you can go to the website, and you can, as I said, the chapters are on there, and there's a really cool map. And is Project Linus international? Because the chapters look like the map is just the U.S.
Yeah, it is the U.S., just the U.S. But actually, sometimes we'll get special requests from people who are going to like Central America, South Africa. If those people are, bring some blankets, Project Linus blankets, wherever they're visiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got recently I got a request from an organization called the Negro Women's Council, and the Northern Virginia chapter, they're going to South Africa in November, and they're going to visit a center for children with cerebral palsy. So they asked me for 45 blankets.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So they're ready, and I'm just waiting for the ladies to come and pick them up so they can pack them. Amazing.
And when a group requests it, tell us a little bit more. Is there a process or a screening, or how do they, like, if someone's listening thinking, oh, we need blankets, how does that happen? How does requesting happen?
Oh, well, they would have to go to their local chapter, and then we have to verify that they're a legitimate organization. I guess check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the organization bringing the blankets to the country, the legitimate, and also the receiving organization overseas is a legitimate, organization too.
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting. Well, this is amazing. Like such a big operation, and still working on the ground level. It's remarkable. It really is. This is just great. Well, I love chatting with you. Will you send me a couple of pictures and a short bio, either through Messenger or by email about yourself, and a couple examples?
Sure.
Either the events or the blankets itself. It would be so cool. Well,
sure. I'll send a picture of make a blanket day. I had one last Saturday, so I can send photos there.
That is so awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. This is so great. Project Linus, big deal. Super.
Well, thank you for letting me advertise Project Linus.
Of course. This is so great. All right, cool. And you don't need to review this, I imagine, right? I can just post it?
No.
All right, fabulous. Well, we'll get it up. This is so great. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth.
All right, take care.
Have a good day. Bye.
So you've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School. And I'm Elizabeth Townsend Gard. If you like this podcast, keep listening. Also, we have a Facebook group. Come join us. We talk about a lot of things. We also have an Instagram account. And of course, most importantly, I really hope you get a chance to quilt today.